is EFF having internal democracy? Or
Yes,
is it a one-man show? They're asking a direct question.
It has got maximal, optimal internal democracy.
And there are those who say don't ever join or rejoin the economic freedom fighters because it's a cult. And I agree with them. There is no space for sound ideological reasoning. That report came with him and it was given to him by the people I refer to as scoundrels.
Do you know who they are, by the way? I'm just curious.
It's different people there. That includes an imbecile, a fool called Nhlamulo Ndlela, one of the foolish leaders of Umkhonto who unfortunately represents the people there. He's always on drugs and always high on alcohol in terms of how he deals with issues. That is what we're dealing with every day. And he will even take pride that he is going to tell lies to President Zuma about him. And of course, he will use the otherwise very gullible and directionless daughter of President Zuma, who of course has got first front row access to President Zuma by virtue of being the daughter. So that is basically what we're dealing with. And of course, Nhlamulo was
a druggie on social
media. I didn't say that. I didn't say she's a druggie. I said there are people who take drugs, which is true, and insult me on social media at night, and which is a fact in terms of what I can say. Look, I don't want to deal with those issues. If anyone wants to challenge me about that, they can ask me privately as to who takes drugs and insult me, and I'll tell them. But
I wonder.
That is part of that. There was some degree of paranoia and some people who thought that they are political heavyweights, they felt dwarfed by our contributions because some of the things that were misguiding President Zuma on would be able to counter much more decisively and then give proper, legitimate direction as to how the organization should be run.
President of the MK party, Jacob Zuma, ever come to you and ask you directly if you are trying to overthrow him? Why was he listening to other people, not you? Who advised President Zuma of the MK party?
No, there's never been a time where he directly came to me to say that I am going to overthrow him. But the report which was presented in the officials, the meeting of officials that took that decision, that report came with him and it was given to him by the people I refer to as scoundrels.
Do you know who they are, by the way? I'm just curious.
It's different people there. That includes an imbecile, a fool called Nhlamulo Ndlela, one of the foolish leaders of Umkhonto who unfortunately represents the people there. He's always on drugs and always high on alcohol in terms of how he deals with issues. That is what we're dealing with every day. And he will even take pride that he is going to tell lies to President Zuma about him. And of course, he will use the otherwise very gullible and directionless daughter of President Zuma, who of course has got first front row access to President Zuma by virtue of being the daughter. So that is basically what we're dealing with. And of course, Nhlamulo was working with this
druggie on social media.
I didn't say that. I didn't say she's a druggie. I said there are people who take drugs, which is true, and insult me on social media at night, and which is a fact in terms of what I can say. Look, I don't want to deal with those issues. If anyone wants to challenge me about that, they can ask me privately as to who takes drugs and insult me, and I'll tell them. But I don't want to speak about that in public now. And the other thing is that I'll never resign from Umkhonto season.
Never.
And I will never resign from Umkhonto season. I'm a member of Umkhonto season.
Now, this kind of sounds like it's deja vu because this is what the MK party president, Jacob Zuma actually did while he was in the ANC. As the MK, how do you respond?
Look, Natasha, thank you for this opportunity, and thank you to our viewers at home. If Comrade Floyd is still a member of MK, we really appreciate that. and we're okay with that. But let's leave that to the National High Command to deal with it, because it's issues of the political party. So let's leave that to deal with it, as he went out and have a press conference about his activities in MK Party. So, but then let's leave that to Floyd and the National High Command to address it, and then they must sit with one another and try and see how do they work together, as he has emphasized that he still regards President Zuma in high esteem and he respects him. We really appreciate that to the member of MK, like he is saying, and to say that he's not going anywhere, but we appreciate that. But let's leave those conversations to the National
Okay,
Command.
perhaps if I may push, before we leave that conversation, is this in line with the MK Party constitution? Should he stay as a member? Others have said that he might, well, should he actually be pushed out of the party in light of what he actually has revealed? And he also said that he was removed because of a fake intelligence report that he wanted to dethrone the MK Party president.
Yeah, like I said before, Floyd knows the MK constitutions in and out very well. So whatever he has said and done, and as I said, emphasize again, the National High Command and the president will attend to that. I don't want to go to the details of the things that I don't have tangible evidence and all the information about it. He just made his press conference today, so I don't want to get involved into that part. He knows the constitution of the MK and everything, and the president and National High Command will engage him on that.
Should he be expelled as a member?
I can't comment on that. It's the National High Command and the president that will decide on what to do with him. Yeah.
Okay, and then just finally, the outcomes of today. We heard the Finance Minister Enoch Godongwana is saying that political parties must be fully funded. I found that to be very controversial, because yesterday there was a report that was revealed by the Human Sciences Research Council that actually showed that South Africans really don't have faith in the political party funding system of the country.
Yeah, Minister of Finance came here and spoke about that political parties must be fully funded, and it was shocking, because even on the IEC, they only fund political parties in the national election, and they don't fund political parties in the local government elections. There is a problem of that, which means you don't grow political parties from an uproot ground up to grow them up to be big political parties. So you mean everyone from the lowest level must just see themselves how they survive, and all of a sudden you found them on the national politics scheme of things, and all of a sudden you now want to fund. These are the problems that we've discovered with this symposium. This symposium hasn't told us anything new as MK Party about the weaknesses of IEC and about the political willingness, the lack of political willingness to change the political systems of South Africa. It's weak, it doesn't bite, and the IEC is always dependent on the politician, the National Assembly, to change the laws for it.